Okay, so let's see if we can wrap up Lysias's speech. We're doing pretty good barreling our way through, so let's keep going. Now, you notice some of this stuff I'm zipping a little bit faster through. Why am I doing that? Because I think we get the idea. And Lysias, I mean, we don't need to go through each reason in excruciating detail. And also, I think you guys need to kind of have some space to try some of this stuff out. I don't want to like explain every sentence of it to you. You should try to explain some things also. Again, using tools that you need like dictionaries and quoting and putting things in your own words and using examples and telling me what you think and reasons and all that stuff. So, but let's finish up Lysias's speech. Um, so he says, further, if we ought to shower favors on those who are most eager for suitors, meaning people, a suitor is someone who's trying to get you to marry them. Further, if we ought to, or have sex with them, I guess. Further, if we ought to shower favors on those who are the most eager suitors, well, on that principle, we ought always to do good, not to the most virtuous, but to the most needy, for they are the persons who will be most relieved, and therefore the most grateful. And when you make a feast, you should invite not your friend, but the beggar and the empty soul, for they will love you and attend you and come about your doors, and will be best pleased, and will be most grateful, and will invoke many a blessing on your head. Yet surely you ought not to be granting favors to those who beseech you with prayer, meaning people who beg you, but those who are best able to reward you. Um, Nor to be the lover only, but to those who are worthy of love. Nor to those who will enjoy the bloom of your youth, but to those who will share their possessions with you in age. Nor to those who, having succeeded, will glory in their success to others, but to those who will be modest and tell no tales. Nor to those who care about you for a moment only, but to those who will continue to be your friends through life. Nor to those who, when their passion is over, will pick a quarrel with you, but rather those who, when the charm of youth has left you, will show their own virtue. Now, I'm not going to go through that in a ton of detail, and I'll tell you why. Because that is Lysias's conclusion. And what does he do in his conclusion? He does the same thing in his conclusion I would like you to do in your conclusions, which is that he summarizes all of this stuff that he has said so far. He summarizes it for you. Because he's gone over a lot of material. He has had a whole stack of reasons why. And so he summarizes them at the end of his essay. Now, I always feel like conclusions that summarize are a little bit silly in an essay that you're writing for me, which is only 2 pages long. Because when you write a 2-page essay, summarizing everything you said isn't difficult. You haven't said that much. And so it always feels a little bit silly to me to read conclusions that summarize your paper in this class. But you should do it anyway. Do it anyway, because you want to get in the habit of it. Because while it may seem silly to summarize everything you've said in you've written a 2-page essay, and then in the last paragraph you just say it again, that seems crazy. But later in life, you're going to be writing a 4-page essay, you're going to be writing a 10-page essay, you're going to be writing a 20-page essay. And when the essays get longer, summarizing everything in like a list of all the things you've said is a really important thing to do in longer essays. So it's good to get good habits now and summarize your work in this class, and it'll help you in future keeping your stuff organized. So he has a whole list, and he goes through all of his reasons again, and boy, it's a lot of reasons, right? Right, you shouldn't love someone who needs your love. You should love someone who deserves your love. People in love need you to love them, but your friend who's a good person might deserve your love. And he compares it to when you have a dinner. Are you supposed to invite homeless people or your best friends? He says, yet surely you ought not to be granting favors to those who beseech you with prayer, who beg, but those who are best able to reward you, right? Right, don't give your love to someone who loves you. Give love to people that deserve love. Don't give love to people who just care about your youth. Give your love to people who are going to share their possessions with you in age, people who will love you for a long time and take care of you. Don't give your love to people who will glory in their success to others, right? Don't give your love to people who are going to talk about it, but to those who will be modest and tell no tales, right? Don't give your love to people who care about you only for a moment, because people in love may change their minds suddenly, but to those who will continue to be your friends throughout life. Don't give your love to people when their passion is over, they're going to fight with you. Quarreling is fighting. But rather to those when the charm of youth has left you will show their own virtue. Or people who will be good people even after you're not young anymore. And he concludes he concludes, remember what I have said. Right? You can see right there, that's your Jew in a conclusion. You remind people what you said. So he concludes, remember what I have said. And consider yet this further point. Ooh boy, he's got another point. Friends admonish the lover, meaning they sort of get mad at him. Friends admonish the lover under the idea that his way of life is bad. But no one of this kindred ever yet censured the non-lover or thought he was ill-advised about his own interests. Because lovers are trustworthy. Non-lovers are trustworthy, right? Your friends are more trustworthy, and nobody's going to blame them. Whereas people in love, lots of people, oh, you're just saying that because you're in love. But if someone is your friend, they're more trustworthy. Now, I will say this now, but Socrates will say it later. Lysias's speech is a little unorganized. Do you see that it's a little disorganized? Didn't I say that he was right in the middle of his conclusion, summarizing all of his points? And then after his conclusion, he goes, and consider this further point. Like, dude, if you have a further point, you need to put that in the essay. You can't be like, in conclusion, here's everything I already said. Oh, and also one more thing. That's when you got to go up and put that higher in the essay. You got to get your Word document and scroll upward and put it up there. Socrates will say this later. One of his complaints is that Lysias is not super organized. I have to agree with Socrates. Lysias's speech is not super organized. But let's finish it because we're almost done with this section, and this is cool. I love this. Perhaps you will ask me whether I propose that you should indulge every non-lover, right? Am I saying that you should be in a romantic relationship with all your friends? That sounds crazy. To which I reply that not even the lover would advise you to indulge all lovers, for the indiscriminate favor is less esteemed by the rational recipient. Meaning, if you give, he's really talking about sex here. If you have sex with everybody, it won't be valued. Esteemed means valued. Indiscriminate means you sort of give it to everybody. Will not be esteemed by the rational recipient, and yet easily hidden by him who would escape the censure of the world. Censure is when you get in trouble. Now, love ought to be the advantage of both parties and for the injury of neither. I believe I've said enough, but if there is anything more which you desire or in your opinion needs to be supplied, ask and I will answer. So one of the things I want you to notice that Lysias does is this paragraph. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but I want to show you. Perhaps you will ask me whether I propose that you should indulge every non-lover. Right? So he's been saying you should only, let's say for purposes of this bit, have sex with. He's saying you should only have sex with a close friend, not someone who's in love with you, because people in love with you, they act crazy. He's got all these reasons. And then right at the end of the paper, right at the end of his essay, he says, now perhaps you're wondering, am I saying you should have sex with all your friends? No, I am not. Someone in love with you wouldn't want you to have sex with everybody in love with you, and therefore, I'm your friend, and while I think you should be in a romantic relationship with me, that doesn't mean I want you to be in a romantic relationship with all of your friends. He says, because if you give something away to everybody, it's not valuable anymore. Now, this is a complicated thing. And by the way, let me be extra crystal clear. I don't agree with Lysias. Actually, I don't agree with Lysias or Plato, but we'll get to that later. They're just interesting guys to talk about. But notice what Lysias is doing. He says, you may be thinking that since I'm saying you should be in a romantic relationship with your friend, maybe you should be having sex with all your friends. That's not what I'm saying. Lysias is doing this, considering objections. Start a paragraph with, some people may object to my opinion. They may say blah, 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 blah. Start the next paragraph with, these people are wrong. That's what he's doing. He's saying some people may say that if you're going to have sex with one friend, you should have sex with 10 of them. And he says, these people are wrong because. He says someone in love with you might say you should be in a romantic relationship with me because I'm in love with you, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't say you should be in a romantic relationship with everyone who's in love with you. Same here. I'm your friend. You should be in a romantic relationship with me, but that doesn't mean I think you should be in a romantic relationship with everyone who is your friend. So he's considering objections in this last part. Again, I know this is silly, but I just think it's fascinating that 2,500 years ago, in a speech about why you should marry a friend rather than someone who's in love with you, they're using the same techniques that we use in this class to make their argument. Because Plato had a big hand in inventing school, and school still sort of looks the way it does because of Plato. I will see you in the last video for the day.